Bukayo Saka, one of the most gifted footballers this country has produced in a generation. And right now, at the most important moment of his career, at the most important moment for Arsenal in over 2 decades, he is not performing at the level we know he is capable of. That is not an attack. That is a fact. And today, we are going to get into every single layer of it. Welcome to James Arsenal Analysis. I am James. Before we go any further, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on your notifications, like this video, and stay with me until the very end, because this is a full breakdown. This is not a 5-minute take. This is a deep, honest, detailed analysis of what is happening with Bukayo Saka, what it means for Arsenal, what it means for England, and crucially, why there is every reason to believe the best version of him is still ahead of us. Let us go. Right now, today, March 27th, 2026, Arsenal sit top of the Premier League, 9 points clear. The Champions League quarter-finals are booked. Sporting CP await, the FA Cup is still alive. Southampton come to the Emirates on April 4th. This football club is fighting on 3 fronts simultaneously and chasing their first league title in 22 years. And Bukayo Saka, the man who has been central to everything this club has built since 2021, is going through the most difficult stretch of his career. 6 Premier League goals from 22 games, 3 assists, 9 goal contributions in total. Compare that to last season, when he returned 16 goal contributions despite missing more than 3 months through hamstring surgery. Compare it to the 3 seasons before that when he was contributing to 18, 25 and 25 goals respectively. The numbers are telling a story we cannot ignore, and if you are a real Arsenal supporter, ignoring it is not something I am willing to do. But here is where I want to start, because if we are going to talk about Bukayo Saka's form, we have to start with the moment everything changed. We have to start with Christmas Eve 2023. No, wait. Christmas Eve 2024. Saka tears his hamstring against Crystal Palace in December 2024 and undergoes surgery in the early hours of Christmas morning. Think about that for a second. He is 23 years old, a professional athlete at the peak of his powers, and he is going under the knife on Christmas Eve. Not on a training ground, on an operating table. When he came around from that surgery, his first question was almost certainly the same one every footballer who has been through that experience asks. Am I going to be the same? He said it himself in his own words. He told the Sunday Times, am I going to come back in the best shape? I had gone from 5 years playing straight football to everything stops. You are on crutches, in hospital, needing help around the house for the first few weeks. That is a psychological wound as much as a physical one. And while modern medicine has come on enormously, while players like Ousmane Dembele came back from the same injury and went on to win the Ballon d'Or in 2025, the mental recovery from surgery of that kind is not talked about nearly enough. The body can heal. The fear does not always heal at the same pace. And I think some of what we are seeing from Saka right now is a player who is still working through that process, still finding his edge again, still rediscovering the absolute certainty he used to carry every time he received the ball and faced the fullback 1-against-1. Now let us talk about the football itself, because the conversation about Saka's form is not complete unless we talk about what Mikel Arteta is asking of him tactically. Gary Lineker said it brilliantly. Saka has to track back so deep under Arteta's current system that by the time he gets on the ball in advanced areas, defenses are already organised. They are set, they are compact. He is arriving into traffic rather than space. And when you are arriving into 2 or 3 bodies every time you receive possession, your numbers will drop. It is mathematics. It is not a reflection of your talent. Micah Richards made the same point. Saka is being asked to do too much defensive work. He is pressing from high, tracking runners, recovering into a defensive shape, and then being expected to produce magic at the other end with whatever fuel he has left in the tank. Now, Arteta has his reasons. Arsenal have one of the best defensive records in the Premier League this season, and that defensive discipline is built on the entire team working as a unit, Saka included. But the question being asked more and more loudly, and it is a fair question, is whether the sacrifice Saka is making to his attacking output is sustainable at this level of competition. When he is defensive and they still get in behind you, as City did in the Carabao Cup final at Wembley, the equation becomes very difficult to justify. He was dribbled past 5 times in that game. He attempted 1 dribble and could not complete it. His 2 shots in the opening minutes were his only real moments of threat. For a player of his ability, that was painful to watch. Not because he was lazy, not because he did not care, but because the system he was operating in left him exposed and underserved. Let us talk about the big game record, because that is the number that sits heaviest with me. Between the 2021-22 season and the 2023-24 season, Saka registered 22 goals and assists against the traditional Big Six. 22 in a 3-year stretch. He was the player who stepped up when the lights were brightest, the player who scored the goals that mattered, the player who made the difference when Arsenal needed someone to break big games open. This season, 8 games against top 6 opponents, 1 assist against Chelsea, no goals, nothing in the Carabao Cup final against City. Nothing in the first leg at Leverkusen, nothing in the second leg. That trend is the one that worries me the most, because Saka's value to Arsenal has never just been his raw numbers. It has been his ability to change the outcome of matches that matter. And right now, in the matches that matter most, he is not doing that. Now, I want to be fair. I always want to be fair. Mikel Arteta made a point after the first leg at Leverkusen that I think deserves serious consideration. He pointed to the absence of Martin Odegaard and Kai Havertz as a factor in Saka's influence. And he is right. When Odegaard is in full flow, he is drawing defenders, creating overloads, releasing runners in behind, and giving Saka the kind of service that allows him to arrive at speed into one-on-one situations. When Havertz is fit and operating as the number 9, he is a constant aerial and physical threat in the box that creates space for the players around him. Without both of those players functioning at their best for significant stretches of the season, the creative burden on Saka has shifted. He is being asked to manufacture chances rather than finish moves. He is the creator and the finisher. That is an enormous amount to ask of one player. And this matters, because when Arsenal are at full strength, when Rice is dominant, Zubimendi is controlling the tempo, Odegaard is pulling the strings, Eze is cutting inside from the left, and Saka has the right channel to attack, this is a genuinely frightening football team. The problem is, we have not seen that version of Arsenal consistently enough this season, because injuries have constantly disrupted the balance. I want to talk about Eberechi Eze for a moment, because his arrival in the summer of 2025 for around £60 million from Crystal Palace has been one of the transfers of the season in England. He has been exceptional. He scored a hat-trick in the North London derby against Tottenham. He has brought creativity, directness, and goals from the left side in a way that has genuinely elevated Arsenal's attack. But here is the question. Nobody is asking directly enough. Has the arrival of Eze changed the dynamics around Saka? When Eze is on the pitch and performing at that level, where does the creative focus go? The team has another forward who can take the game by the scruff of the neck. The volume of attacks that used to funnel through Saka has been redistributed, and while that is good for the team, it changes the individual rhythm and momentum that Saka depends on to stay sharp and confident. Confidence is everything for a wide player. The decisions come faster when you are confident. The touch is cleaner, the run is timed better, the shot is more decisive. And right now, with fewer touches in dangerous areas, with fewer opportunities to beat men, with fewer decisive moments to feed on, Saka is in a difficult cycle. Less confidence leads to fewer risks taken. Fewer risks taken means fewer moments of brilliance. And fewer moments of brilliance means the confidence does not rebuild as quickly as it needs to. Now, I need to talk about March 4th, 2026, because this is important. Bukayo Saka made his 300th appearance for Arsenal at the Amex Stadium against Brighton, and he scored the winning goal, a 1-0 win. 300 appearances for this football club at 24 years of age. Think about that number for a moment. He has played 305 times for Arsenal since making his debut as a teenager in November 2018. He played 83 consecutive Premier League games between 21 and 2023, which is a club record. He has given everything he has to this football club every single day since he was 16 years old. And on the occasion of his 300th appearance, he scored the goal that won the game. That matters. That is not nothing. That is a player who, despite the form dip, despite the tactical constraints, despite the psychological weight of a major surgery, still finds a way to produce when the moment comes. That is character. That is the Bukayo Saka that Arsenal fans have always believed in. And then 10 days later, on February 19th, he signed a new contract and committed to Arsenal until 2030. In a world where elite young talents are constantly linked with moves to the biggest clubs in Europe, Bukayo Saka signed on the dotted line and said, "This is my club." This is where I want to be. That is not the action of a player who is mentally checked out. That is not the action of a player whose confidence has completely collapsed. That is the action of a player who believes in what Arsenal are building and who sees himself at the centre of it. Let us talk about England, because this is where the stakes get even higher. Thomas Tuchel has been absolutely unequivocal about what he expects from Saka. When Saka became the highest scoring Arsenal player in England history with his 13th international goal back in October, Tuchel was asked to reflect on that achievement. His response was extraordinary. He said 13 goals is not enough. He thought it was 30. He said it needs to be more. He said Saka has everything required to be a top player at international level, and that is what he has to show. That is one of the most demanding and most honest assessments of a player I have heard from a manager. Tuchel is not celebrating. He is demanding. He is pushing. And he is right to do so. Saka now has 48 England caps and 14 international goals. He is approaching his 50th cap. He is one of England's most important players heading into a World Cup. And yet his club form has understandably created some nervousness about whether he will arrive at that tournament in the kind of shape that England need him to be in. Tuchel has made the decision to rest Saka for tonight's friendly against Uruguay. He is splitting the squad across the 2 March fixtures. Saka will not be involved tonight, but he will be back at Wembley on Tuesday, March 31st against Japan. And he will be looking to stake his claim, looking to remind Tuchel and every England supporter exactly what he is capable of. And the competition for his position is real. Noni Madueke is in this England squad and he is performing extremely well. He has been sharp for Arsenal since joining in the summer. He came on at Leverkusen and within half an hour had won the penalty that gave Arsenal a lifeline in Germany. He came on in the final at Wembley and looked more threatening than Saka had from the start. That is a hard truth, but it is the truth. And when Ray Parlour and Ali McCoist are calling for Arteta to rest Saka and give Madueke a run in the starting 11, that is not a fringe opinion. That is a serious conversation. But let me give you my honest assessment. Madueke is a brilliant impact player right now. He is hungry, he is sharp, and he is benefiting from the freedom that comes with not being the main man. Everything he does is on his own terms. He carries no expectation. He carries no weight of being the player the team is built around. Saka carries all of that every single day. He has carried it since he was 19 years old. There is a wider conversation here about the sheer volume of football Bukayo Saka has played. Since breaking into the Arsenal first team in 2018, he has made 305 appearances for the club. He is already 41st on the all-time Arsenal appearance list at 24. He has 48 England caps. If Wayne Rooney, England's all-time leading appearance maker for outfield players, got his 120th cap at 33, then Saka still has potentially a decade of senior international football ahead of him. But the mileage on his body right now is enormous for someone his age. The comparison with Michael Owen is worth examining. Owen began to decline from 23 because of a hamstring injury he suffered at 19. The physical and psychological toll of that injury changed him permanently. His pace, his sharpness, his instinct in front of goal were never quite the same. And Owen did not have access to the kind of surgical intervention and rehabilitation science that Saka had access to at the London clinic. But the physical toll of 300-plus games, of constant international call-ups, of major surgery, of playing through the mental and physical fatigue that comes with being a top-level athlete in the most demanding league in the world, that takes a price. It takes a price from everyone, eventually. The question is whether Arsenal and England get ahead of it or whether they only notice when it is too late. So what needs to happen? For Arsenal, I think Arteta needs to look seriously at how Saka is being used in the final weeks of this season. With the Premier League title in reach, with Sporting CP in the Champions League quarter-finals, with the FA Cup still alive, the temptation will be to play everyone and play them hard. But if Saka continues to be used as a defensive midfielder who occasionally gets forward, his attacking output will not improve. It cannot improve under those conditions. When Arsenal have the ball and the lead, Saka needs to be given license to express himself. He needs Eze and Zubimendi and Odegaard, when fit, to do the work that allows him to arrive late, to attack at speed, to face defenders in space rather than traffic. That version of Saka is unstoppable. The Premier League has not found an answer to it when it has been deployed properly. For England, Tuchel needs to decide quickly whether Saka is his first choice right winger for the World Cup or whether Madueke is pushing for that starting place. I think Tuchel already knows the answer. Saka, at his best, is one of the top 10 players in world football. Madueke is a very good player who is having a good season. There is a significant difference between those two statements. But Saka has to prove it again, and he has every opportunity to do so over the next 8 weeks. I want to close with this. On March 4th, in front of a full house at the Amex Stadium, Bukayo Saka scored his 300th Arsenal appearance goal to win the game. He did not celebrate wildly. He did not run to the corner flag and fall to his knees. He pointed to the badge, he shook his fists, he celebrated with his teammates, and then he got on with it. That is who Bukayo Saka is. He has been Arsenal's most important player for 4 consecutive seasons. He has dragged this club from 8th in the Premier League to title contenders. He has done it while still being a teenager, while becoming England's highest scoring Arsenal international, while coming back from major surgery faster than anyone expected. He has done all of it with class, professionalism, and a passion for the shirt that you cannot fake. Is he in the best form of his career right now? No. Is there real concern about whether the Saka of 2021 to 23 will return before the World Cup? Yes. But is there any reason to believe this is the permanent end of his peak rather than a temporary dip caused by surgery, tactical burden, and the sheer weight of everything he carries for club and country? Absolutely not. The best version of Bukayo Saka still has everything ahead of it, and Arsenal fans and England fans need to hold on to that belief while being honest about where things stand right now. That is what we do here. Honest, passionate, always Arsenal. That is your full breakdown. That is James' Arsenal analysis. I am James. If you got value from this video, please subscribe right now. Like the video, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Where do you think Saka's form goes from here? Does he start against Japan on Tuesday? Is Madueke a genuine threat to his starting place? Let me know. The conversation matters. Your voice matters. Turn on your notifications so you never miss a breakdown. And I will see you very soon. Come on, Arsenal.